So I want to say thanks for Tony. You do a lot of great things, and I appreciate everything you do, man. The content that you're putting out is great. I asked Tony to participate because we've kind of engulfed, or we have kind of inherited a lot of the organizations. So Tony's organization is on here, Mark Chambers' organization is on here, Chris De La Garza's organization is on here. And the reason that we train, I want to be transparent, the number one reason is because we love it. Bob and I started doing it with our previous company. We've been working on it for a long time. We have a lot of content. And then coming over here, knowing that a lot of the licensees, there's some of my newbies are on here. You know, a lot of us haven't been in a recession or a lull or anything. And so I'll be honest with you guys, me and Bobby felt really unneeded for the last 3 or 4 years because no one needed. I mean, if you had some white teeth and a nice suit or a cool, you know, outfit, you could go and do a lot of business the last couple of years if you had a super key. But as the market changes, you have to hone on your skill. And the only way to hone on your skill is scripts and dialogues. And to be honest with you, how Bobby and I met was, everyone thinks we went to high school together or we're related, which offends me a little bit. But how me and Bobby actually met we were script partners, right, Bob?
Yeah.
We would actually switch. We would make calls every single day, 5 days a week. Monday would be at my house or his house. Tuesday we'd flip flop. Every other Wednesday we'd pick each other's place, and we would just sit there. And it was like back in the day where you make 100 calls for one appointment, and we'd hit for sub owners, expired, internet leads, all these, you know, just random crap. And we started working on scripts and dialogue. And if you want to, and this is probably unbelievable to a lot of people, we've known each other for 17 years. We've been business partners for 11 of those 17. And we still work on scripts and dialogues. Even last week, Bobby said, hey, this guy told me this. What would you have said? And I was like, And because even us, after 3,000 transactions, we feel like we've heard it all. We really haven't. And someone comes and they put a hurdle in front of us. And then we kind of sharpen each other's skills on saying like, well, this is how I would do it, or this is how I would approach that. And we've been have business coaches for our entire career. So we've been coached by some of the best real estate coaches in the game. So all of that knowledge, to be transparent, why I'm doing these trainings is because, like I said, if you were somewhat ambitious and had a super, you were probably doing well in the last couple of years, but now we have to sharpen our skills to do better. If you haven't been a part of 2008 shift, I know Chris De La Garza is on here. He was there with us when everything collapsed. But since then, we've kind of had a really pretty good ride. And now we have to get a lot better at what we do and how we do it. So, and I have my newbies on here. Bobby started real estate when he was 25, Bob?
I think I was 27 in 2005.
Okay, so look, if you can see, Bobby's 45 right now. He's a vampire. He looks 30, whatever. I was 24 when I started. So both of us look pre-pubescent when we started. So a lot of the new agents that are on here that are young, like Isaiah and all my agents, I said, look, I'm going to train you guys how to have scripts and dialogues and be prepared. So the first hurdle that we want to jump is the dreaded, how long have you been in the business? Who hates that? That's one of the biggest hurdles when you start, right? How long you like, yeah, I see my girl Sierra nodding her head. Yeah, you guys are young. So if you could imagine me and Bobby, like I don't look 43, Bobby doesn't look 45. Could you imagine us as 24? We looked like, seriously, like we needed to be in the backseat in a car seat. So when we started real estate, and I want you guys to write this down. Well, it's being recorded, so we can send it back out to you. But since you're part of our organization, you just got to get that elevator speech down. So just expect that script or that objection to come up. How long you've been in the business, and just say like, well, I just got licensed in. Well, actually, there's a guy on here, Isaiah, that got licensed this month. So I just got licensed last week, but but you should write this down, or you should get really comfortable with the script. You should say, but one of the biggest real estate teams in San Antonio actually hired me to work with buyers. And we have combined over 30 years experience and over 3,000 transactions. And my mentor will be involved in the entire step of the way. They'll be there with market analysis, with negotiations, with inspections, appraisals, and dealing with the title company the entire way. And that will make the prospect feel a lot better, right? Instead of just being like, oh, I just started, right? So you have to get really good at that script. So that's the first hurdle that you need to have if you're new in the business, even if you're older, but especially if you're in your early 20s, you got to get really, really good at that elevator speech, because they will ask, you look young, And so they're going to ask, and it's the first hurdle that I had and I didn't have the organization that we have, and I had to just sport my brokerage instead of my organization or my team. But we have 30-year plus experience with over 3,000 residential real estate transactions in the state of Texas. So that should make any prospect, buyer or seller feel comfortable. Okay. So that's the first hurdle. Get really good at that. Practice it with your significant other, your friends, and just make sure that it sounds non-scripted. It's just kind of like make sure it's kind of just like your reaction to that question. The second one that I want to cover today, because that's just, one of the basic scripts, is I heard on MSNBC that it's a seller's market, or this is the most inventory we've seen since 2008. Who has heard that recently? A lot of us. A lot of people are saying like, oh, I'm waiting for that deal. I heard the market's going to crash, or the market is crashing, or whatever. So what I would tell you guys, if you're brand new, or even if you've been in the business for a while, no one will ask you how long you've been in the game if you're very confident and you start to give really good numbers and advice. If we were financial advisors, we would have to be able to tell our buyers or our investors, if it's a bear or a bull market, right? So I'm going to teach you right now. Can you guys all see my screen? Nod your head if you say if yes. Let me see. Anyone nodding? Yes. Okay, cool. So if you can see my screen, so this is a formula. And by the way, we didn't make this formula up. It's been the formula for all real estate markets since the 80s, I believe. The formula is there's 5 months of inventory or less, then it's a seller's market. What does that mean? Seller has more control. Buyers tend to be in multiple offer situations. Buyers tend to have to pay their own closing costs. Buyers tend to have to pay above list price out of their pocket. Buyers tend to have short or no option periods. Buyers tend to have to buy the property as is. Buyers have to lease back to the clients, to the sellers at a very minimum or zero cost. So it's seller sided. Like if you're a betting person, the Bucks against the Cowboys, the Bucks were favored, right? They were supposed to win by 4. They murdered them, thank God. But it's a favoring. Yeah, I see you. That one's for you, brother. So they should have been minus 14, but that means that the Bucks are better, right? And so that is a seller's market. So, and then there's sub markets, right? Because you need to tell these people that are out there telling you like, I'm just gonna wait for a deal, or you need to find me a deal because it's starting to be a buyer's market. Say, well, let's figure it out. So how do we find out how many months of inventory there are? I'm about to tell you. And by the way, so 5 months or less is a seller's market, seller's favored, right? 6 months is the sweet spot where there's no favoring. It's like if it was like Vegas, it was like a pick. And were in that market for a brief moment in my career between, Bob, what it was like 2014 through 16. No one was happy and no one was mad. Buyers got closing costs. Huh?
It was a little earlier than that.
Or lower, okay, yeah, 13 to 15, 12 to 14. But no one was really pissed. Buyers felt okay. Sellers were like, whatever. Everything appraised. People got closing costs. We had repairs. Sellers did okay. Buyers did okay. That's when no one really has an advantage. It's just kind of mutual. That's 6 months of inventory. And then anything from 7 months on is a buyer's market. And we are far from a buyer's market. And I'm going to show you how. So I'm going to show you on my computer, if you can see my screen. So let's say we have a buyer that's saying like they want to live in 7254. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to just put 7254. We can do any of these. So this is how you do it. This is single family detached homes, active, new, back on the market, extended, or price change. So this is what's available. Like if we actually wanted to set up showings of any house in 7254, there's 416. And let's say your buyer's only approves up to 400,000. So you say like, okay, so this is our options. We have 253 houses that are available for you, okay? So let's see if it's a seller's market or let's see if it's a buyer's market. So there's 253 options for you to purchase, okay? So now I'm gonna take off all of these and then I'm gonna add active option, right of first refusal, sold, pending, or pending for backup. And I'm gonna go back 30 days because that's a month. So everything that's pending or active option, you should assume is about to close in a month, right? So we're going to go back 30 days. So 253 is, if you see this number right here, 253 is what's available for you if you wanted to purchase. And in the last 30 days, there's 330 houses that are pending or sold. So what's the amount of inventory? You have to do a little bit of math. You have to go 253 divided by 330, and you have 0.76 months of inventory available. So you have to tell them, so if no one else lists their house at 7254 under 400,000, then you have 3 weeks of inventory. Does everyone understand how I got that number? Tell me anyone speak up if you don't. Because I'll do this as many times as I need to until everyone gets it. Because there's sub-markets. Because when you hear on MSNBC or CNN or Fox News or whatever, that it's turning into a seller's market. Yeah, it may be in Idaho, right? Maybe in like Wyoming. I'm not trying to talk crap, but not in San Antonio, and not in your price range, and not in your zip code that you're looking. And when you can confidently deliver this information in front of them. In fact, if I was a new agent, like some of your newbies down here, and I was actually shopping someone in 7254 up to 400,000, I would confidently say, like, I actually did the numbers before we went out today, and I realized that there's only 3 weeks of inventory. So if there's only 3 weeks of inventory, that means we have to wait until the market has almost 7 times as many houses for sale before you will have a slight advantage over the sellers. So the whole concept of them waiting for a seller's or a buyer's market is kind of dumb. Does that make sense? Yes.
Sorry, I thought I heard somebody else trying to ask you something real quick. I understand the variables that you're using to kind of get to that number, but once you get to the answer to that math, what is kind of determining your inventory? And can you talk about like the different, I guess, variables, like the different equations you come to, the percentages you come to?
So this is the simple math that we have access to the MLS, and I like to do this in front of them. Like I went on an appointment with Sierra, and she saw that. Like I want to be transparent. I opened up my computer like I'm doing with you guys right now. I said, "Here, come look at the screen. This is what we're looking at. We're approved for 400,000. We're looking at 7254, and look, this is how many options we have now." And by the way, all those options aren't the ones that, we can even get even more specific. We can say 4-bedroom homes or 3-bedroom homes or houses with pools or whatever. We can get very surgical with it, right? But I would open up my computer, use my phone as a hotspot, and say, like, let's figure out if it's a seller or a buyer's market in 7254 under 400,000. Because maybe it is a slightly buyer's market in the 1.3 million price range in San Antonio, but no offense, that's not your price range. Right? We don't live in Idaho. You want 7254. You're approved for 400,000. There's 3 weeks of inventory. So yes, we're going to be in a multiple offer situation. And if you can confidently say that to a person, then they're going to understand, because numbers don't lie. That's the best script of all time, right? Because it's not a script. So that's the best objection handler of all time, because they can literally see numbers in real time. And you're not going to seem so new anymore, right? You're going to seem like you're the really smart, educated professional that's helping them create a strategy to find a home, if that makes sense. And but we can do a couple.
Can you go over that formula one more time? There was a request in the chat box for that.
Sure. Give me another example, a submarket, or we can do Alamo Heights or Helotes or Bernie or whatever.
Yeah, do 09. Do 78209 the last 30 days. The same equation.
Okay, I'm not gonna put a price range on there because it varies so much and they're very expensive. So I'm gonna go to zip code 7209. I'm gonna take off the price range. I'm gonna go back to my set. This is my set thing, right? So it's new, back of the market, extended to price change. So pretty much, and RFR is fine. Pretty much, if we wanted to go shop for a house,
put under 800,000 or 900,000. So because some of those $1 million homes will sit on the market for years.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, let's do up to 900,000. That's what most people would be looking for in Alamo Heights. So if I was sitting in front of someone that's looking for a home in Alamo Heights, say, let's look up to 900,000. And so we do the default new back in the market extended price range or right of first refusal. And we say, okay, there's 23 houses that are available for you as options. Okay. And so now we say, like, let's figure out if it's a seller or a buyer's market. So let's take these off and let's put the.
You have to add Do that again with, you didn't have active.
Right. Oh, that's why there's only 23. Oh, there you are. Sneaky, sneaky. All right. Yeah, seem low. 66 houses that are available, up to 900,000 in Alamo Heights. So now I take all these off, and then I put what's pending, which is active option pending, sold in the last 30 days, right? And I have the dates here from today's date back 30 days. And there's 60. So 66 divided by 60 is pretty much 1 month of inventory. Meaning if everyone just stopped and no one listed another property, then the absorption rate is actually what it's called. The absorption rate is 1 month. So in 1 month, the next 60 houses will be gone. So that's 1 month of inventory. And if it's 1 to 5 months of inventory, the seller has an advantage, and it is a seller's market. Does everyone understand?
So JJ, really quick, we've gone through this before, and it was all over the news, and everyone was talking about how we're in this recession, and what was this, in 2009?
Yeah.
And being here in San Antonio, we didn't get hit like that. So it was all over the news, and everyone was freaking out.
I wonder where that's at.
We took like
I wonder where that water is at.
What's that?
No, keep on going, brother. Someone needs to be muted, I think.
Okay. So we took, like they said, anywhere from a 5 to 7, maybe 8% hit in Texas, but there was cities in Detroit that were down 40%. There was Vegas, half their houses were vacant. So we were kind of bunched in with all these cities that were in trouble. Florida was in trouble. All these buildings were vacant because they couldn't sell anything. But San Antonio and Texas was very solid. That's when they started giving them the money back, and people started buying all these houses. So we never really got affected the way the rest of the country did.
And that was in 09. And I want you guys to write these numbers down, especially if you're brand new. So here, since 09, since the last actual recession, and I don't think there's going to be a recession, by the way. Well, in Texas, there won't be anything at all, in my opinion, or my prediction. I'm not Nostradamus or anything, but I am a geek when it comes to these numbers. But since then, and I just about to put on a video today, I interviewed some guy from the San Antonio Current. We have just taken out Scottsdale, Arizona, and Phoenix as the #1 fastest growing city in the United States of America. First time ever that San Antonio took out the fastest growing city in the United States, with 14,153 people that came in the last 12 months. So whenever you talk to someone, say like, because buyers will say like, yeah, well, I'm looking for a deal now because I heard on Facebook, like this is the most inventory since 2008. Say, yeah, maybe nationally, and maybe in Idaho, or I don't know why I keep on picking. I hope no one's from Idaho on it, or maybe in Wyoming or whatever. But or like Bobby said, maybe in Detroit or whatever. But not here in San Antonio. We just took out Arizona or Phoenix as the fastest growing city by numbers in the entire United States. Also, tell your clients this: the fastest growing city by percentage is #1 Round Rock, and #2 New Braunfels by percentage. And then the third fastest growing city by numbers is Austin. So just the corridor from Georgetown to us, we're the fastest growing corridor in the United States by far. So then you ask them, so if we're the fastest growing corridor that anyone's ever seen since the gold rush, do you think we're going to have a seller's market? I mean, or a buyer's market? And they're like, probably not. Great. Well, then let's...
So people do ask why, though, and there's several reasons for it. Our property taxes in Texas are pretty high. So we climb slowly, not like in California where they climb 20-30% a year, and that's normal, where we climb 5%, 6% maybe. So the reason, it's because of our property taxes being so high. Another thing is we have several military bases that constantly keep our people moving in and out of the city. So there's a lot of people coming in constantly because of our military bases. We have tons of large companies that are here. So in combination of all these companies that we have here, the military bases here, and the high taxes, it keeps our production pretty constant.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of reasons. And then I would also add on here to write these, because these are real numbers, because they're also going to say, well, I'm just going to rent and wait. Say, okay, well, rentals have gone up 14% in the last 2 years, almost consecutive. I think it was 13 and 14. And taxes, property taxes are being raised 10% across the board because it's by it's the highest that they can be raised according to the Texas Constitution. So you ask yourself as a renter, if every year property taxes are being raised 10%, do you think that your rent's going to go up or down next year? And the answer is up. And so should you wait? Absolutely not. All you're waiting for is for the properties to be older, uglier, and smaller, right? So that's all you're really waiting for, and to predict whatever the interest rates are. So these are some just basic scripts that we want everyone on this call to get into. I want you guys to be able to do these sub-market seller and buyer and seller market analysis, if it's a buyer's market or seller's market, in front of your clients, or be prepared if you're brand new to spit out these numbers confidently and say, here, I can show you where I got this information. Because if you're confident and you have a lot of information, well, then no one's going to question your credentials or how long you've been in the business or anything like that. We're heading the halfway point. So I want to, and by the way, I want to do this every single month in the middle of the month, because me and Bobby call this the mid-month fire drill, because everyone has really big ambitions at the beginning of the month, and then all of a sudden their pipeline that they thought was awesome starts to be like, maybe it's not. So we want to start to do this every single month in the middle of the month, either Wednesday or Thursday, depending on what works with Tony's crew. Well, because again, we're adopting everyone's organization here. So anyone, as long as it's convenient, and so that we can actually help you guys in real time, throw out all the objections of the prospects that you have that are wanting to buy or list, or you had an objection because you have someone that asked for too much on an inspection report and it was trying to kill the deal, or you have someone trying to back out because the appraisal is low, or anything. So I want to go to the crowd now that has had a recent objection, even if you've already handled it, but you feel like you maybe missed the mark or you could have done it better. If anyone wants to be vulnerable and say like, hey, someone just texted me this or said this to me, and then me and Bobby will role play it together. You can just tell us the objection and then kind of fade away. And by the way, keep it short. I don't want to know, like, don't start like, well, the seller's a Scorpio and his wife's a Virgo, and like, no, we don't care. No offense, but just for the sake of time and everyone's, the respect of everyone's time, to say like, man, this is what it was said. I kind of got stumped. I said something that maybe I shouldn't have, or I could have done better. But if anyone wants to be vulnerable, go ahead and unmute yourself and give us an objection that you've heard recently in this market.
Yeah, I've got one, JJ.
All right, Alan, go for it, brother.
Okay, here's the exact text. Okay, so Bobby or JJ, whoever.
Okay.
We plan on taking our time and finding exactly what we want. We can continue to rent month to month until we find something. We are also waiting to see where this economy goes and if more will come on the market in the coming months.
Bob?
So right away, waiting always, if you didn't buy 3-4 months ago, you're probably mad because interest rates have gone up. So right away, I would bring up interest rates. You don't know where interest rates are going to go. One, also the price of home has not stopped going up. So my essay just posted that even though our market slowed down, the prices of homes still went up. So prices of homes are going up. Interest rates are definitely going up. What you can afford right now is not going to be what you can afford in 6 months.
I would also go into control, because there's always someone in every given couple, there's a control freak, right? And I would say, look, I would say I understand your strategy, but here's the problem with that. What can we control? We can't control if China doesn't, if they have this economic collapse that they've been talking about. We can't control how much money is going to Ukraine, can't control how much the government's printing, and it can't control inflation. We can't control, a lot of things. But what we can control is locking in on an interest rate. And I want everyone to write this down, because the moment that you hear the word inflation and come out of any of your prospects or clients' mouth, I want you to write this script down, okay? The best way to combat inflation is to lock in on a 30-year mortgage. I'm gonna say it again. The best way to combat inflation is to lock in on a 30-year mortgage. Well, what does that mean, JJ? Okay, well, I bought a house in 2004 inside Petranco in 1604. I had an 80-20 loan. So they gave me 80% of the loan was at a 8.5% interest rate, and I was happy. And the 20% was at a 13.9% interest rate. I'm not making this up. It's very predatory. I have no idea how they expect me to pay that off. But let's assume that I kept that stupid, really crappy mortgage rate in 2004. Let's just assume that I went under a rock, was never contacted by a lender, and I kept that incredibly terrible mortgage in 2004. The 20% would have dropped off in 2014. And my principal and interest, and I remember because I was scared of it at the time, was $872. Okay. So if I would have kept that terrible loan, right, and not refinance it in 2010 when it dropped to 2%, or 2020 when it dropped to 2%. Let's just say I just you know, I'm a loyal guy and I'm gonna pay this thing off, right? My mortgage payment, I did the math. It would be about, I was a 4-bedroom, Bob. My house was a DR Horton 4-bedroom, 2,100 square foot home, right? And right now, with that terrible mortgage payment, it would be about $1,180 a month. Can anyone find me a rental in 7251 for $1,180 a month with 4 bedrooms and 2,100 square feet? The answer is mother loving no. So who cares about the interest rate? Doesn't matter. The best way to combat inflation is to lock in on a 30-year mortgage. And here's the thing. Yeah, but pretend that you don't. Just pretend like you're really dumb and you take whatever interest rate you get and then you just keep it for 30 years. Like you're that 1% of crazy people that do that. I still would have won. And yeah, you probably laugh at me like, dude, you had a 13.9%. Yeah, I did. Who cares? But that's what worked in 2004, right? And that's what I got. So I want you to learn that script. And here's what I want to do every single month on these calls. The best thing that you can do is to tell a story. I just told you guys a story, right? Once upon a time in 2004. So all you newbies on here, you can say like, hey, actually my mentor bought a house in 2004 out inside 604 in Petranco, and he got an 8.5% interest on an 80% loan and 13.9 on the 20%. And right now, if he would have kept that, his mortgage payment would be $1,180. So, and it'd always be paid off, by the way. So you need to start just adopting all of our stories, because these are true stories. And when someone hears a story, they relate to a problem. Because right now everyone's like, man, I'm really scared about locking in on these high interest rates. And by the way, they're not high; they're only at 6%. But if they go, well, man, if his mentor did it in 2004 at 8.5%, then damn, I should be okay. Because you will be okay, because the best way to combat inflation is to lock in on a 30-year mortgage. But you have to add the story. Because if you don't add the story, they're going to be like, okay, whatever, dude. I don't even know what the hell you're saying. But if you add the story, they go, okay, I believe you now. So everyone needs to use these stories every single month with these objections. And then people will relate to them, and then they'll be able to use them, and then they're going to relate to their clientele. And then you're going to get
a quick script when it does come up. There's quick scripts that I've used all the years and years. Hey, we're just going to rent. Well, you're paying somebody's mortgage, and you had a mortgage and you're renting out that house, you would rent it for more than your mortgage to cover the rent, or the rent.
You break it up there a little bit, Bob. I think what Bob was saying, like, well, here's another script rebuttal. If they say like, man, I'm scared of interest rates. They're already at like 6%. I'm just gonna rent. We'll say, well, renting is 100% interest, not 6%. It's 100% interest. That's worse than 6%. That's worse than 8%. That's worse than 10%. It's 100%. It's 100% interest. Right. So that's an easy, like, but you don't want to offend people, but that's an easy script. Like, you're scared of 6% because rent's 100%. That's 100% interest. Okay. Anyone else have some? So Alan, did that help, by the way?
Yep, sure did. Thank you so much.
All right. Anyone else have an objection that they recently had?
Hey, JJ, how are you? I've had a lot of agents come, and I've been struggling with the other side of that on the listing side.
Oh yeah, that's good.
They're wondering why so many listings are having to slash their prices. Can you talk about that?
Sure. The new comps are the pendings. Write that down. The new comparables are the pendings, because you won't even know, like, there's a consumer confidence is what gauges all markets, right? And so the consumer confidence that we're talking about of buyers at 8% or 6% interest rates, their confidence in purchasing is lowering. And if they say, well, my neighbor sold their house 6 months ago in 2 days with 17 offers, I was like, damn, we should have put list your house 6 months ago. That's literally what I respond immediately, because I'm like, okay, that's not my fault, that's yours. But the second thing I would say is like, and by the way, and write this down, every single Monday your clients decide if they fire you or not. That's true. The last 3 years we weren't even listing agents. I don't even know what we were. We were just, damn, Bobby and I didn't buy lawn signs for a long time because we're like, why are we going to put a lawn sign out there? That's a waste of our money and time. We were just putting super keys on, sometimes lock boxes, you lazy bastards, but we were just putting lock boxes on houses and we were getting paid. And it was lots of fun. And then, but that fun is over. Now we actually have to work for our commissions on the listing side. Boo-hoo. But what you want to do is and I tell this to all my coaching clients, every Monday know that if they didn't get an offer over the weekend, they're deciding every single Monday morning over coffee, should I fire this agent or not? And so Chris, to answer your question, be proactive, not reactive. Don't wait for that phone call. Make the phone call. Say, hey guys, really slow. And by the way, learn your craft. Everyone on here, unless you're my people out in Corpus Christi, all of you here in the San Antonio metro area, we have access to Showing Time. Showing Time has some great back-end information. You can look to see if your listings are being shown as many times or less than their competitors in the same zip code or subdivision and price range. So you can say like, hey guys, it looks like we didn't get any showings, but either did anyone else in our price range and zip code. So maybe first week of football. Maybe it's just the first week of football, right? You can also go here. Let me show you. You guys can still see my look. Check this out. I don't have a lot of listings here because I do commercial. By the way, I do commercial real estate. That's the reason that I train you guys. If you have some commercial deals and you want to partner up, let me know. But here, damn, Bob, I think I still have a couple listings. Bob, I'm going to log into yours, dude.
Okay.
Hold up. This is what you should be doing every single week. We do this every single week. Go to your listings, pick a random listing, okay? I'm gonna do this bad boy right here. No, we just got a brand new one. So here, let's do this. So we just put this thing on the market. Come sell it for, by the way, okay. So you saw where I went to, right? I went to my MLS, and then I went to my listings, and I pulled up our most recent listing that I think we posted today. It's new, Risen Bay. And then I go to activity. Do you see how I got there? Well, I want you to screenshot this. 131 people were sent this. It met 131 people's criteria. It just happened today. Today we put it on the market. So 131 prospects were emailed our listing, okay? 0 have marked it interested, 0 have marked it maybe, and 0 have marked it non-interested. Every single Monday, you should be making a screenshot of this page right here. Why, do you ask? Well, then, because this is the metrics that you have gauged in the MLS. Say like, look, and I say like, hey guys, it's my job is to market the property, right? I've marketed the property and I've gotten 131 people to acknowledge that it's in their price range. And now them marketing and interested is out of my control. But 131 people were just emailed your house. That's gonna be
why
yes.
wouldn't you just click the box that says allow seller to view showing activity?
Because I'm old school. I don't know, girl. You can whatever.
I mean, make it easier on yourself.
It's a call for us though. The main reason why people get fired is because there's no communication. So if we don't call them on Monday, they're wondering what happened this whole week, what's going on. But if I have something to tell them on Monday, I bought me another week. Now, if I listed it correctly, I won't have to do this long. But if for some reason it does slow down, I use this time to give them information. And I use this. And then another thing I use is, this is what else hit the market. we are no longer the cheapest home, or this went under contract. And then we can tell them that one went under contract over ours. And then there's usually a reason why. It's usually prettier than ours. It had a pool, or it's cheaper.
I
And
mean, I would do that too, but I would still.
You're breaking up, girl.
JJ, all I would say is I like to control the communication with the seller. And if it's going automatically to them, you know what I'm saying? Like they're automatically
like the
getting all this
call.
information. I'd rather control the conversation, what Bobby's saying.
I mean, well, I still make the call too, but it's like you still send that information. Just so you can listen to market report, and that way they've got it ahead of time to review. I don't know. It's just something that it's just one thing that I would kind of do is to automate yourself. That way you're not, you know.
The days of automation, that's the point though. The days of automating is over. I want them to hear my voice and my concern. That's the point though. Yes, I could have my virtual assistant send that and then just be like, I gave you the report, but those days are over, which is the point of this exercise, is that no, I want to screenshot that, send it to them, and then text them and say, I know you're at work.
You don't want to give your friend a ride to the store?
And then I want them to hear my voice, my concern, or my lack of concern, or maybe I want them to hear my calming voice and be like, hey, it's no big deal. It looks like, you know, we're like everyone else right now. It was the first weekend of football and no one got any insurance, so we'll figure it out next weekend. So I want them to hear my calm, or I want them to hear my concern. Because if I want a price drop, I sound extremely concerned. And if I want them to calm down, I sound extremely calm. Okay. So yeah, the automated thing is awesome, but those days are over now, which is the purpose of this exercise. No, we're going to be proactive, not reactive. Okay. Anyone else?
So during those times, during the past couple of years, you didn't have to call people because the house went under contract right away. In 2009, 10, 11, every week we were calling our listings. And if we were still a lower price, the goal was to drop the price. But we always called everyone and had a certain amount of information ready. And one of them is days on the market. Average days on the market is sold. If we were 30 days in or 45 days in, and the average days on the market was 60, I would remind them that, hey, we're not even we're not at the average days on the market. It's still a young listing. Also want to tell them what's new on the market. How are we priced in comparison to everyone now? Because the market changes every week. New markets hit the new listings hit the market, and houses go under contract. So you want to remind them like, hey, this is where we're at in comparison to everyone else. This is who's new. This is where we should be now, or everything's good. We need more time.
And also that buyers and sellers exercise that we started this call or the Zoom call with, use this to say, hey, look, we have 2 months of inventory. We're 1 month in. Chill out, relax, like enjoy football. I'll talk to you next Monday. But yes, we have to be proactive, not reactive. Anyone else? We got about 10 more minutes of we will try to help you with any kind of objection or hurdle that you've had in the last couple of weeks with any prospect or current client. Sala's group had one. Rudy, tell me about that awesome inspection that you had like an Excel spreadsheet the last week.
Yeah, I have a buyer put an offer in Camino Real. They priced it accordingly for the renovations, repairs they may have needed. So we got the inspection report, it was like 69, 70 pages long. And my buyer's a engineer. So my normal template, our template is just, hey, let's review it. We'll go over it. Give me a list of from high importance to least of your key items that you feel are deal breakers or things you want to talk about. And he gave me a spreadsheet of about, 35 items maybe. And some quotes, some estimates. Altogether, you want about $70,000, maybe 60
as a price reduction.
Yeah, price reduction, closing cost assistance, anything, but just that's how much you wanted. I had
Bob,
to.
Bobby, how would you deal with that? Someone sends you a spreadsheet. They look over an inspection report and they send you a spreadsheet with estimates, and they say, "Hey,
everything in the inspection report, right?"
They wanted to make sure that he knew that it wasn't everything, but everything was highly inflated for sure.
So what I would do is, first thing is, without being offensive, I would say it looks like we should be looking at new homes. We're not, we're buying a pre-existing home. We're not getting a brand new home. They're never going to fix everything on there. And then I always use the line of, in my 18 years in real estate, no one has ever asked for everything in the inspection report to be fixed, which is a lie. It happens all the time, but it's just to make them feel like it's not the norm. This is not the norm. And it helps, and it kind of makes them like kind of sit back and like, okay, maybe I'm not being reasonable. And that's always my opener. But like JJ was saying, where were you at, JJ?
Well, you say like, look, that like let's look at the price. Let's look at, I would pull up the prettiest house that's ever sold in Camino Real in the last 6 months and say, dude, that one's $230,000 more. Maybe if you don't want to fix her up, or I get it. Like maybe we just gotta like bite the bullet and find it perfect, or like Bobby said, get a new home.
If it's priced accordingly, then this is why it's priced where it's at, because of the condition that it's in.
And that makes sense, because I did show him the market statistics in there, and everything's like $200,000 or more in price. So I did tell him kind of what you said, Bobby. I mean, this is, I never have we had anybody ask for everything and get everything. It ended up being cut straight down the middle in the end. I still submitted what they wanted me to, and the guy budged at 30 grand. So we got 30 grand off.
That's incredible. Yeah.
Nice.
But I did make friends with the agent, Bobby. I told her, hey, don't come at me. Don't come over here and beat me up. But this is I'm just warning you, this is an engineer, real high C disc. And I'm the messenger here. So don't pick out.
And it works to kind of prep them in advance and say, hey, don't get offended, don't get mad, give me a counter. My client just has to get this out, and let's work it out and make friends with the listing agent. Like, hey, we want to work this out. And if you usually get them on your side rather than it being you versus them, it goes a lot smoother.
For sure. All right, we got a couple more minutes. Anyone have some objections that they handle on their own, but they felt like they could have handled better? Because I always do that, when you're taking a shower, you're like, man, I should have said this.
There's one in the chat. There's one in the chat, JJ.
Oh, I can't see the chat. Can someone?
Let's see. Hey, JJ, it's Clay Cali.
Yep. Hey, Clay, what's up, brother?
Hey, so here's my objection. So what happened is I had a buyer. He's from out of town. He had his house listed, and he within 24 hours after having it listed, he got a full price offer. So his agent took the full price offer. He accepted it. And so we started looking for a place. We had already been looking here in San Antonio for a place for him here. And we found a place. And so he accepted their offer. And then after he accepted their offer, and this is Open Door, and Open Door says, hey, we're not going to take an offer from you unless you're past your option period and everything's good, if you make it contingent. So they ultimately he said, okay, I'm not going to make it contingent. Let's go for it. So we went for it. He gets his offer back from after the inspection from his primary home. And the primary home inspection comes back, and they want $12,000 towards the roof, AC, other stuff, right? So he says, I'm not negotiating. This is my price. My house is as is. The other buyers pull out of his offer. He gets ready to try to pull his offer here. And I'm trying to explain to him, hey, look, you already have a loan that's already up to $250,000. For what your offer is here at 235. I said, you still have this offer. But his insistence was now that since he didn't get his full price offer there, that he's losing money and he's going to pull out of this offer here in San Antonio. And being a new kind of agent, I really tried to explain to him and say, everything that I thought could pull out of my bag of tricks to say, hey, no, you have this offer, you're going to get your house sold, you know, so let's just take it a little slower and think about it before you pull out of this offer here and you lose the house that you want, because we've searched 9 or 10 other homes and this is the one you've ultimately decided on. But we ended up pulling out of the offer, and so now he didn't sell his home and he's lost his house here.
How I would have handled that is, you know, sometimes you're a dentist and you're like, figure out, does it hurt? Does this hurt? Does this hurt? So, you know, and sometimes you have to do the other agent's work as well on the other side. And I would have probably pulled up a mortgage calculator and said like, hey, dude, $12,000 at the end of the day would change your payment. You know, I'll do it right here. Like,
what I don't understand is, what if we could have negotiated and it wouldn't have stayed at 12,000 if we would have gotten at it correctly. This is what I would have gone. Anytime I get, I start negotiating repairs, or when they ask me for $12,000, let's say I'm you. The first thing I do, I said, look, we got 3 options. You can accept it, you can decline it, or you can negotiate. I said, if you decline it, more times than not, they'll just go away. But if you at least negotiate in their favor, we keep the ball going. We keep negotiating. So my recommendation, even if it's a small counter in their favor, it still keeps it alive. So I would have recommended, hey, let's offer them 2,200, 2,400, whatever it is, just to keep it alive. And they might have came back at 6 or 7 or something more reasonable, but we didn't even try because we kind of killed it up front.
And that's exactly, Bobby, what I exactly did to him. I said, hey, before you close this offer, that close this door about selling your house, I said, you're lucky you got an offer within 24 hours of your house being sold. I said, negotiate with those people. I said, because we got our inspection back, and that's what we're doing with Open Door. We're about to submit our inspection and say, we're going to negotiate here. It's a tactic on the other agent to try to do the best they can for their client, which is what I'm doing for you here. And that's what he's doing for his buyers there. And I said, so you need to, I said, negotiate with these people. I said, you may not have to pay 12. Then you may get it down. He said, as is, and that was it. Just close.
Well, I would also do like exactly what you're doing, but lean in. That's called what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Close. Right. I would say like, hey, how about this? Let's ask Open Door for 18 grand, and then you give them 12 grand, and then you're plus 6 grand. Right? So
sure.
Do you see what I'm saying? Just make some arbitrary number. Like if it, and then it's as is, right? Because if I get you 18 grand here and you give 12 over there, then we're plus 6 and we're all good. So yeah, what's good for the goose, good for the gander close for sure. Hey, I want to be respectful of everyone's time. We got 3 minutes left. I don't think we have enough time to do another rebuttal. I hope this helps. If everyone hello? Yep.
Right.
I'm sorry. Is there anyone who's on there?
Oh no, it's because I had I've been having nightmares on something too that I was gonna ask, but
go for it, girl. We got time.
Longer afterwards. If
go
that's
for it.
No, go for it. We got time. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm a new agent as well, and I'm currently in the option period, and it's a VA loan. So they're asking for wood rot repair and what do you call it? The hydrostatic test failed. So my client has no money, and I found people who are willing to do the work and get paid at closing. But
well, so your client wants a hydrostatic test?
No, I'm on the listing. Yes, so it failed, and it's a VA loan. The buyer's wanting, of course. Yeah. So I just don't know. Like, you know, I did find a company that's willing to do the isolation test and repairs and charge at closing. And I also found someone who's willing to do the wood rot and get paid at closing. But then it's just like, what if it doesn't appraise?
Well, then you get all that. So this is all about quarterbacking and timing, right? So you get everyone. So now you got to contact the lender, involve the lender and the buyer's agent, and just be transparent and say, look, we can't pull the trigger on these repairs until you tell us that we're past this, finance period. And then just, you're gonna have to line it up, girl, and quarterback it where like, and you know what? It might be a little bit of a delay of closing because now it's out of your control. This is the lender's ball game and the buyer's ball game. But just say like, hey, we're willing to do this stuff. We got everyone. Huh?
Is the seller good with the repairs?
Yeah, he's willing to do it, bro. He's willing to do it, but he just doesn't have cash to fork out.
Yeah. and pay it at closing.
Yeah, just you're gonna have to be more of a quarterback in this. You can say, look, I'm gonna get this done. There might be a gap though, so just tell them up front, like, if we're gonna make this closing date, then I need the appraisal done at this point so that I know it's good, so that I can get the people out there so they can get it done, so you can do a final walkthrough so that we can get to closing, and then these people can get paid. Better for the vendors too that are doing the work, that if they only have to wait a week, it's better than you doing it now and they have to wait 3 weeks. Probably makes them feel more comfortable, but you just have to quarterback the transaction a lot and be very transparent. We have one of our brokers here online. Do everything in writing, everything in an email, CC every single human being on earth so that everyone knows what the hell's going on. So that if anything hits the fan, you go like, hey, dude, I've been telling you since September 14th how to get it done. But yeah, just quarterback it really well.
And does it, like, with the wood rot have to be repaired before they go out to do the appraisal, is what I've heard?
Well, they can make it.
It can be a condition of underwriting, because it's if you look at the VA underwriting requirements. Well, first of all, the appraiser might not even catch it. He's not an inspector, so he might not even look up and see it, right? But if he does tag it on there, then it'll be a condition of underwriting, and you're gonna get it done anyway. So who gives a shit? Oh, I'm sorry, can't cuss. Who cares?
Oh yeah. It just okay.
Yeah. So either way, you're good.
Thank you for that. I've had nightmares like all week.
You know, you're good, girl, and I'm glad you brought it up. That's the best way to do it, and the most legal way, and to cover your butt. That's the best way to do it. All right, so guys, I hope this was helpful. We're gonna try to do this every single middle of the month. Why we're doing this to make everyone better as professionals. I feel like we go from like, I don't know, like just like used car salesmen and then realtors. As far as the hierarchy of professionals go, but we're just trying to make everyone better. These are the type of scripts and dialects that help you close deals. This is real money in your pocket. Like, this is actually going to make you some actual money. We want to do in the middle of the month so we can salvage your month, make sure that you get all the stuff. If there's any, like, and by the way, anyone that's on here or was invited on here, this is going to separate us from our competition as well, because there's no other brokerage or organizations doing this. No one cares about the deals during the month. They care about theoretical trainings on open houses and stuff like that, which are great. And by the way, we do those in person as well. And so my next in-house training in person is the 29th of this month. If you want some more information on that, get with Tony or Mark or Chris De La Garza or Alan or whomever invited you to this call. It's a database class. It's killer. If you haven't taken it, take it. If you took it before, take it again. You got to hear it 3 times before it sinks in. But that's it. We'll see next month for sure.
Hey, JJ, I got the 22nd is the database training. Unless
they changed it to 29th. We had to change it. Sorry.
29th. Okay, so we'll make that announcement and get that back. A lot of great information, guys. I really appreciate y'all hopping in and sharing your experience. Thanks for the questions, everybody. We have recorded this. We'll put it up on our the Productive Agent Facebook group page. And if y'all have any questions, reach out to these guys or myself anytime. Thanks, guys. Y'all have a good one.